All right, welcome to another segment with Dave and myself. We're talking about Dave and him having son that was challenging him, and he's 25 years old, and he's gray hair, and got a beard, and got a cane, can't see because the sun has sucked the life out of him.
Yeah.
Now he wants to make another one. No, just kidding.
It's not impossible.
What do you mean? You're 100 years old already.
Yeah. That's why I'm not moving around in the last couple videos. My back hurts.
Yeah, I know. I see your back. Tell your wife to leave you alone. Only Fridays. Only Fridays. Wait till she sees that one. What do you mean only Friday? What's the matter with that guy? All right, we're going to talk about Nano. Mark and Mindy's favorite Nano. All right. We're going to talk about chemtrails, and nanoparticles, and smart dust. Because we did a segment with an ocular, which I'm going to hold you guys to the ultimate challenge, and I want you to take a look at it. And don't troll me, don't comment, nothing, until you do it. Because you're going to come out there and say, you're just full of, and you're causing scared, and blah. You're the one that's scared, and you're the one that's got your head up your arse, and you're the one that needs to examine what's going on. The rest of us who are out there with our eyes open, to whatever level they are seeing what's going on. You need to be the ones to be awakened so that you can see what's happening. I know you guys don't want to wake up. I know you want to stay asleep because it's comfortable being stupid, and I understand that. But anyway.
It's less stressful.
Yeah, less stressful. I know. It's comfortable. Meanwhile, back in the ranch, the mainstream globalists are killing you, poisoning you down, breaking you down, turning you into I hear and obey. I hear and obey. Anyway. Nano. Okay, let's get into this. Okay. Under development since 1995, the military's goal is to install microprocessors incorporating gigaflops computer capability into smart particles the size of a single molecule. You see those ziggy-zag patterns and the circles with the extensions and more circles? That's why. That's why. Okay, they're invisible except under magnification of powerful microscopes. These nano-sized radio-controlled chips are now being made out of monatomic gold particles. Leave the nano gold alone. Nano gold will collect in the liver. Contrary to what you've been told in this industry, okay, the studies that were done on it, and I've got them right here, I'm going to talk about some of the studies, will find that nano is not for you, okay, because of the way it conglomerates and congests in the system. All right. There's a company, a military company, that's producing this stuff. Network, let me read this. Invisible except under control, under magnification. Network together on the ground or assembling in the air. Thousands of sensors will link into a single supercomputer no larger than a grain of sand.
Thousands into a grain of sand. Holy.
That's why you have cellular degradation, because when a nanoparticle enters the cell, it's not just one particle. It's a consortium of particles entering into the cells, choking the cell's respiratory system, choking the cell's capacity to self-replicate and restore and rebuild. These things override and overwrite your cellular matrix. Okay, those of you who had wires coming out, you know, the psychosis, follicle psychosis that the doctors are talking about, you don't have a psychosis, they do. You have an actual issue going on. If you get that microscope and you take pictures of it, you can take it to your doctor. Say, doctor, you said I have psychosis, follicular psychosis. Well, what is this? This is evidence that something's growing out of my skin. Could it be a smart dust particle? He'll say, what's a smart dust particle? Let me educate you. That's what you should tell your doctors. Okay, more gallons. What about more gallons? More gallons is one unintended manifestation of nanospray. Experiments. Morgellon manifests or presents as an intolerable itching in the skin, followed by alien, they use the term alien here, I didn't make this up, alien eruptions of thin hairs or tendrils through the skin. Okay, and it can be amber crystals, polymer crystals, you will see under the microscope, and that's at a 60x. you will find that these things are interactive. All right. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, if you manufacture a liquid supercrystalline structure, vibrate a little, and give it an electrical charge, it will form a chain. And that is validated. If you look at nanoparticle research, they have done this. Okay, they have used frequencies, they've used sounds, and they've used electrical charges to create. So these things can create and do whatever they're intended to do under the program. All right. These nanotubes will be invisible to the eye. That's why I'm telling you to look at the ocular. Because with the ocular you will begin to see. Now the stronger the microscope and the blue light that you have on it will manifest these things more magnified. So I mean, this is just a start. All right.
Just wondering if, back to that whole ocular, if you found something on your skin that looks like a grain of sand and then took a pair of tweezers and put that under the microscope.
You can't pull it out.
You can't pull it out.
You can't pull it out. I mean, some of it's embedded right to the skin. I mean, when you take a bath with the salt will penetrate the cell. That's why I'm telling you salts. Because salts will flush out these particulates out of the cells. And even with the salt bath, sometimes you have to take 2 and 3 in a row to get it out effectively because of the way they're embedded. When you look at these things and look at your skin, you're going to see little, looks like indentations in your skin with purple, blackish polymer material embedding itself. And these things have biofilm in them that spread different pathogens in your system. It's a form of vaccines, believe it or not, or vaccination program. Much of it is still up there. Hank went to explain this is because nanoparticles are so light and so small they tend to bind to oxygen molecules, and piggybacking on oxygen particles make them buoyant. It travels worldwide. Okay, whenever this is exposed up there, whatever is exposed up there, what goes up must come down. Okay, we get exposed to it. We breathe it in. We ingest it. It accrues in the same spot every time and attracts more of it. When you have this stuff accumulate, it will attack you along your temples, along different parts of the skull, along the jawline. It will attack you on your joints. It will attack you in your lower extremities. And if you squeeze the stuff out, because you can squeeze it out, you'll get this gooey, it's not a protein or a liquid, it's a gooey mess. And if you look at that with a microscope, you will see that the stuff is loaded with shiny dust particles. You will see it loaded with looks like a plastomer or a polymer or a plastic. You will see it shine in different colors. Again, you're putting a blue light on there, and you will see the reds, the oranges, the bright illuminating oranges, the fluorescent greens. You'll see it. And it tracks more of it. In other words, it does accumulate. It will concentrate. You will pull stuff out of your lymph, near your lymph here, and as you draw it out, for a while you'll have a break and it'll come right back. Because that is how this bloody stuff is programmed. Okay? That's why a lot of you are suffering in such pain today. That's why a lot of you are having problems with your health, because of the constant barrage that's going on in the immune system. This Ebola thing is basically, if they did release it, with those of you who have been afflicted heavily, it could wipe some of you out. Because one of the things that this does is strips down your ascorbic acid levels. This is why I'm telling you, buff up the ascorbic levels. Nanoparticles are ionized particles that go to what attracts them. Because of their electrochemical properties, they are attracted to potassium calcium channels in the brain. They do beeline to the brain. They do that. I'm just going to read the highlights of the report just to give you an idea. Okay.
Where's the report from?
Let me get it. It's a chemtrail article written by William Thomas. He's dead on. He's dead on. Just in my own personal observations the last couple of years dealing with this stuff, if I had not been afflicted with this, I would not have believed that it could be possible to be afflicted with this much crap. Alright. Read this. Prolonged exposure to very high concentrations of particulates that are visible in the air can produce pulmonary fibrosis, somewhat like silicosis formerly seen in miners. This stuff does have silicates in the air. The stuff that's in the air does have. That's why some of you are having respiratory issues as well. Sulfur is your buddy. Sulfur is your buddy. So is iodine. 5% iodine. All right. There's a strong link between all tiny particles and thousands of premature deaths each year. Even before nanoparticles were being, or the chemtrails were being really fully explored, back in the 70s and the 80s when the automotive industry was pumping out their pollutants, the scientists even back then in that time were saying that those pollutants that were in, the particulate size was so small, it was causing severe problems with people with their heart and their respiratory, and a lot of them were dying prematurely. Now we have something far more evolved and far more advanced that's afflicting you. All right. Let's see here. Okay, that's the same thing. Europe and USA, it says here, the particles can kill. The August 5th, 2000 issue of New Science has pointed to findings in 6 cities over 16 years showing that city dwellers in Europe and the United States are dying young because of microscopic particles in the air, which I just mentioned. Excuse me. Microscopic motes are able to infiltrate the tiniest compartments of the lungs and pass readily into the bloodstream. Nanu, nanu. Mork and Minnie knew what they were talking about, see? Chemtrails are mostly tied to illnesses and early death, particularly in people who are already susceptible to respiratory problems. Okay, calls for megatons, Welbeck patents calls for megatons of 10 micron size aluminum oxide particles to be spread in the atmosphere. The EPA calls particles this small an extreme human health hazard, leading to 5% increased death rates within 24 hours. Hearts as well as lungs can be damaged by ultrafine particles small enough to get into the bloodstream and inflame tissues and cells. After they reach the heart, the particles are thought to cause stress reaction in the cells, producing inflammation and contributes to heart disease. The particles are also may cause blood clots. This is why I was saying to you before that they can attack a cell and cause a hyper-immune response, causing the cell basically to self-destruct. So this is why it's important that you use salt in your diet. This is why it's important to use several different types of salts: potassium chloride, sodium chloride, trisodium phosphate, sodium borate. These are all salts. Okay, you might want to consider using them. After they reach the heart, the particles are thought to cause stress reaction in cells, producing inflammation that contributes to heart disease. The particles also may cause blood. Okay, got to that. That exposure to airborne particulate matter is an environmental health risk on the global proportions. Smart particles in your brains make you brain dead. Okay, and that's why some of you, when you talk to me, one guy contacted me yesterday about the AMA, and thought he could insult me by making some derogatory mark on a sexual level, and then I just turned it back on him. Now, I understand the guy has brain dead. Yeah, got a little brain damage going on there. And this is probably why. You know, between the soy and, you know, this stuff here, it's bound to cause some brain damage among some of you. Now, some of you are saying, what do you mean, brain damage? Well, any time you get metals in the head and you can't get them out, like nanosilver collect in the brain as well as the lung, can cause some problems in the thinking process. You're not there. You're not attenuate like you would be. All right, nanoparticles might be better called smart particles because they make a beeline for the brain as soon as they are inhaled. Ooh, smart particles. And it's not because they make you smart. Okay. They tend to accumulate and clump in the area of the brain that deals with smell. They observe nanoparticles inhaled into the lungs are so small they easily cross the lung barrier and enter the blood. Particles in the blood can reach the liver amongst other organs, and whatever goes into the liver can get into the brain. Keep that in mind. Okay, these smart particles will be used to increase and decrease the storm size and intensity and steer it in specific targets. Because they've got the program sequence, they can now move on their own. They can program the thing, and the thing will just do all of it, but without any whatever. See, it says, instead of being sprayed in the air at the mercy of the winds aloft, as is the fate of normal chemtrails, nanoversions will be able to enhance their dispersal by adjusting their atmospheric buoyancy and communicating with each other as they steer themselves in a single coordinated flock within their own artificial cloud. Nanochemtrails will even change the temperature and polarity to improve their seeding effects. Because nanoparticles can be potentially self-replicating, that is, they can be made to reproduce themselves until programmed to stop. From swarms, so the weather reports will use real-time updates from swarms of nano-sized smart sensors. Coming swarms of airborne nanobots to optimize wind dispersal patterns for germ warfare or chemtrails. The chemtrails are too familiar. After a decade-long dose, continue to inflict eye infections, nosebleeds, skin sores, muscle pain, chronic exhaustion, weakened immunity, acute asthma and allergies, short-term memory loss, and heart attacks. Nanu, nanu. All right. The green light has been given to disperse swarms of wirelessly networked nanobots into the troposphere by remotely controlled UAV drones for global warming mitigation. This is where, and they will do 3 times more damage than any CO2 alone. Now, and that's the good news.
Jesus.
All right. So now you're told use nano silver. Okay. Nano. Silver nanoparticles can cause damage to testicular cells more than titanium dioxide nanoparticles. Now imagine this. You have titanium dioxide up there. That's why the sky is white. We no longer have blue skies. We have white skies. Powder white skies. That is your titanium dioxide. Ooh. All you males are having problems with ED. I wonder why. And then we have nano silver up there as well. Ooh, titanium dioxide. Nano silver. Wow. Causes testicular cancer. You think maybe, just possible, there's something being coordinated there to knock out the male population? Because if you guys can't have sex, you can't make babies, right? And Dave's working on the second one.
My skies are blue, Tony.
No. All right. However, the use of both types may affect testicular cells with possible consequences for fertility. You better hurry up, Dave, make those babies.
Before it gets cloudy.
Before it gets all cloudy. Push them out, way up. Okay, anyway. Now technology is increasingly used in consumer products, medicines, and building products. You know there's over 1,600 products in the consumer market today that has nanoparticles in it? Look for titanium dioxide. It's one simple little thing. And it's in the vitamins too, you know. The health food industry. Titanium dioxide. Vitamin capsules. Healthy. My maleness. Anyway. Alright. Previous research has shown that nanoparticles can cross both the blood-brain barrier and blood-testis barrier in mice and rats and are taken up by cells. The study aimed to see if silver and titanium dioxide nanoparticles had any effect on human and mice testicular cells. The researchers found that silver nanoparticles had a toxic effect on cells, suppressing cellular growth and multiplication and causing cell death depending on concentrations and duration of exposure. The effect was weaker for titanium dioxide. Ooh, that's a consolation, isn't it? Even though titanium dioxide can fry your lungs, but it's a consolation. It's not as dangerous as nanosilver. Although both types did some cell-type specific DNA damage. Oh, DNA damage. Wow, look at that. Mutations. Okay. With possible implications on reproduction as well as human and environmental health. It seems that the type of nanoparticle and not the size alone may be the limiting factor. Okay, the researchers used cells from human testicular carcinoma cell lines and testicular cells from 2 strains of mice, one of which was genetically modified to serve as representative model for human male reproductivity toxicity. The cells were exposed to titanium dioxide nanoparticles at 21 nanometers and at 2 different sizes of silver nanoparticles at 20 nanometers and at 200 nanometers. over different concentrations and time periods. Both sizes of silver nanoparticles inhibited normal cell function and caused more cell death than titanium dioxide nanoparticles. In particular, the 200 nanoparticle silver caused a concentration-dependent increase in DNA damage in human cells. Nanu, nanu. And you have the gurus out there saying, I know silver. All right. A nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter. When you see a colloidal silver, that's different. It's not as small. It's in a millionth or a micron size. Okay, this is a billionth. This, like I said, we showed earlier. If this was your cell, that would be a nanoparticle.
You're referring to the tip.
Right at the tip.
Not even. Now,
it's not that just one gets in. You're getting a cluster, because that's what it says is happening here. These things cluster together to create a program. So, be aware of that. Okay, now, a nanoparticle is a particle with one or more external dimensions in the size of range of 1 nanometer to 100 nanometers. The aspect ratio, okay, what? Nanotechnology is working on a scale of 100 nanometers, which corresponds approximately the size of a virus. Ooh, a virus. Okay. Toxic nanoparticles entering the human food supply. More than 1,000 products in the market of nanotechnology-based products. It should be 1,600. This is an older report. So, if you go do some research online, you will find that a lot of nanoparticles that you're buying into, or a lot of products you're buying into, have nanoparticles in them. All right. Here we go. First, this was done on pearskin. Nanoparticles on pearskins. First, the scientists immersed the pears in silver nanoparticle solution, similar to pesticide application, because that's what they're using now. They're using pesticides. The pears were then washed and rinsed repeatedly. Results showed that after 4 days of the treatment of rinsing, silver nanoparticles were still attached to the skin. This is why I tell you to peel your stuff. Okay? The penetration of silver nanoparticles is dangerous to consumers because they have the ability to relocate in the human body after digestion. So they don't break down. Everyone tells you that colloidal silver will break down because of stomach acids. Really? There's telling you something different here. And then they're saying, well, if you're making your own homemade stuff, your colloids, the molecules are too big. Well, if the stomach is going to break it down, then you want them a little bit bigger, not smaller. Anyway, therefore, the smaller nanoparticles may be more harmful to consumers than larger counterparts. Just said that, without even reading this. When ingested, nanoparticles pass into the blood and lymph system, circulate through the body, reach potentially sensitive sites such as the spleen. I like my spleen, makes my blood. Brain, liver, and heart. The growing trend to use other types of nanoparticles has revolutionized the food industry by enhancing flavors, improving development delivery, keeping food fresh longer, and brightening the colors of food. However, researchers worry that the use of silver nanoparticles could harm the body. We are overloaded with this stuff. This is why I'm not a big fan of anything nano in this health food industry. I actually think there's a collaboration going on. This is just my own thinking now. It's just my opinion, my thoughts, that I think sometimes there's a collaboration of industry conflicts to sell stuff like this in the health food industry. Now, X-ray reveals uptake of nanoparticles by soybean crops. I hear this all the time, how they like their soy. Oh, but it's fermented. Ooh, and aluminum even. All right. Metals contained in nanoparticles can enter the food chain. Let me go on here. Even a simple chemical compound behaves differently as a nanoparticle. Nanoparticles do not react the same way as base metals. A completely, entirely different mix. Cerium has shown to be present not only in the nodules close to the soil, but had also reached the plant pods. A detailed spectral analysis of X-ray signals showed that the cerium in the nodules and pods was in the same chemical state as in the nanoparticles. However, part of the serum had changed its oxidation state from CE4 to CE3, which can alter the chemical reactivity of nanoparticles. Zinc was detected in nodules, stems, and pods in concentrations higher than the controlled group of plants. In other words, it took up more. One must keep in mind that once engineered nanoparticles enter the food chain, this is an accumulative process. It will accumulate. Tolerable levels today can become dangerous tomorrow. What's this one? Okay, that's it. I think that's it there. Okay, my point is this. When you're using chelating agents in the soil like glyphosates, it's going to allow these kind of things to be taken up more. It's pulling out, it's basically what it's doing is pulling out the minerals that are in the plant to make room for more stuff. And as you can see, nanoparticles are not safe. They're not safe at all. They shouldn't be in any cosmetic or food, but they are. They're actually going to be using them, carbon nanofilters in farming as a form of irrigation and increased yields. Genetically engineered foods, or GMOs, are dangerous. But next to this, GMOs are like candy. Okay? Basically a poison candy, much less, but this is far, far, far more dangerous. Because with the genetics and the nanoparticulates, they're going to react in the body, and you never know, based on what I've understood of the agrobacterium and the nanoparticles that are combined, it actually makes these things stronger. And again, because nanoparticles are more accumulative, again, they are dangerous. So, I've given you this. You can use whatever you want, whatever you feel. But I will tell you this, you need to explore all the venues. I just had a report today, a research today, I was looking at PubMed, and they had combined silver nanoparticles on a nanoscale with some kind of, I believe it was raspberry or some kind of berry. And in the same breath, they went from nanoparticles to 50 parts per million. That's impossible. Nanoparticles are in a nanoscale, and parts per million is a totally different thing. And I wrote them a letter saying, this is an error. This research is erroneous because you got two different standards of measurements. And so she wrote me back and saying, well, she was under this. I said, no, look it up. Nanoparticles are not parts per million. They're not on a micron scale. They're in the billions, not millions. So anyway, when you read the research on some of this stuff, really examine what they're saying. They've used nanosilver with turmeric to kill cancer cells, but what they don't tell you is, where did that silver go? They don't even indicate anywhere in the research that it even came out of the body. So when someone's trying to use nano, if it gets displaced in other parts of the body, because it's not the same as a colloid, it's not the same as a base metal like a magnesium citrate or whatever, it's not the same thing. The molecules are bigger, your body can break them down and excrete the excess. This is so small, it saturates the cells and takes over. And then we're adding genetics on top of this. You've got a problem. All right. Is there anything else? You got anything you want to add?
Well, just on the last point there, I was just curious. So, if nanosilver, if they don't talk about what happens to it after the fact, do you have any sort of speculation as to where it can go yourself?
Well, it can go into the brain, it can go in the lungs, like they're saying. Once it gets in the bloodstream, it can go anywhere. And like you said, it goes into the spleen, and goes into the liver.
So if the cancer doesn't kill you, the silver might find a path somewhere else that might kill you elsewhere.
And then again, it's accumulative, because you're being exposed to it constantly by just breathing it in, okay, or by the food supply. So it's starting to accumulate in the system. So this is just going to add more to it. And if these things are programmed, well, silver is a conductor of electricity. So it may actually augment the programming sequence that's going on in the body. Okay, so when we're talking what we're talking today, we have to realize that we are not in 1970 anymore. A colloidal silver in 1970, 5 parts per million would have wiped out anything. I mean anything. Common cold, a virus, bacteria, it would have wiped it out. 5 parts.
Can the argument be made that the opposite is true? So if you're saying, for example, that the nanoparticles can have an inhibiting effect on cellular growth, can they have an accelerating effect on cellular growth?
Oh, definitely.
Can it be argued that they'll use it for good versus counter to?
If you look at the research, they're all telling you they're using it for good, for killing cancer and doing this and doing that. And it's going to do what it's supposed to do. It goes into the cancer cells and literally chokes out the cells, because that's what it does. Whether it's a healthy cell or an unhealthy mutation, it's going to kill it. But what happens to it afterwards? Okay, some are going to say, well, it comes out in urine. Really? According to this, it doesn't. It doesn't all come out. And if you're being reloaded with this stuff on a daily basis, okay, you're going to the grocery store, you're buying some fruit, you say you're buying some pears, and they're using nano silver to spray as an insecticide, which they are doing, as a mosquito repellent and to kill mosquitoes. And they can't get the silver out after 4 days of washing. So you're going to be taking it in again.
Mm-hmm.
And once it gets in, like I said, it can get anywhere in the bloodstream. It can lodge in the heart, brain, spleen, liver. Let's see here. Again, causes DNA damage. So they will point out in a lot of the research the positive side of this, but it's always a one-sided, one-looped thing. Okay, here. This is just from the chemtrails. We are too familiar with decade-long dose of continue to inflict eye infections. How many people are seeing floaters? Constantly. Nosebleeds, skin sores, muscle pain, chronic exhaustion. People are telling me all the time, they get up in the morning, they can't move. I got a gal out west right now who's says she's constantly tired and she can't keep her thoughts in her head because, again, she's being saturated and she's excreting out tons of the more gallons that she's got. So, do the research. And now, if you're not sure, you can go on my script of the show. There's an August 2014, and I believe it's the August 23rd show. This nanoparticle article is there on http://augmentinforce.50webs.com. Look at the script of the show link. Look at the August 2014 link. We have another show in June of 2014 where we have another nanoparticle research. Look at the research, explore it, check it out, take the ocular, look at your skin, and then you make the determination. Okay, we're good now?
Mm-hmm.
We're good? All right, we're good now.
Well, as good as I guess we can be with this information.
Okay, again, you can get it out, you can flush it out. Again, 4 elements: iodine, salt, sulfur, and phosphorus. These are your buddies. These are your buddies. Okay, and by using them properly in baths, and again, we have a protocol in the September 2013 script. Look at the September 21st, 2013, and there's a whole list of protocols. This may help a lot of you alleviate some of the pain you're suffering. All right. And like I said, I hate giving you bad news, but there is good news. Again, have salt in your soap. It says that. Salt in your soap. All right. Don't listen to those bloody doctors. They don't know what they're talking about. Have salt in your soap. All right. Till the next segment with Dave and myself, to your health.